Hey, Shalom Akim, Yahweh, Bashim, Yahushai, Bashim Kakadash, Barakatam, love, honors, and salutations to the elders and apostles of Good Stone, to Akim and Akwath, try to flock onto the earth, holding on in sincerity and in truth to the gospel of the Lord Amashak Yahushai. This brother Menashe DC Camp, another short lesson for the hopeful elect. Yeah, so there's so much to be taken into consideration when you decide to accept the proper gospel, the proper doctrine of the Lord Amashak Yahushai that has been passed on to the apostles, the bishops, and elders. It helps, the body, all right? Just to sum it up, the body of the Lord Amashak Yahushai. Yeah, so once you decide that you want to be a part of the body, or you need to be a part of the body, you got some serious benefits coming to you, all right? Because every member of the body gets fed when the proper understanding is being dished out, all right? So there is no limit to the supply of wisdom, knowledge, and understanding that the Lord is giving to his servants, the hopeful elect, all right? So the book of Job, chapter 8, verse 20 says, Behold, the Most High, Yahweh Shema Shabash Mukakadash, will not cast away a perfect man, neither will he help the evil doers. All right? So that's easy to understand. All right? The Lord has already made his position known. All right? So just remember, when the triumphing of the wicked is short, it's for a reason. The Lord is making room, right? He's making preparations for the righteous, right? For the elect to bear rule, right? So that's a good thing to remember, right? And you just have to hold on to your faith, man. Because a lot of people say things out of fear of the flesh going through adversity, all right? Because so many of our people have perverted the gospel just because they wanted a piece of the pie. They wanted a piece of some government funding. They wanted some piece of some building fund. They wanted favors. You don't preach the gospel to get favors from people, all right? You preach the gospel to receive favor from the Lord, the Mashiach Yahushai. The scriptures even tells you that, you know, the favor of the people comes from the king, all right? So who is supposed to be pleasing the king, all right? And the Lord, the Mashiach Yahushai, is the one that's directly, looking out for us. So we shouldn't, ignore that fact. So the book of Isaiah, chapter 29, verse 24. And look at that. Look at what it says. It says, They also that erred in spirit shall come to understanding, and they that murmured shall learn doctrine. So this is the opportunity of repentance that our people have access to. All right, these are the so-called folks of the 11th hour. We're reading about the parable of the penny. Yep. So this is talking about those that were idle. All right. So Isaiah chapter 29, verse 24. They also that erred in spirit shall come to understanding, and they that murmured shall learn doctrine. All right. So this is exactly what we've been looking forward to. All right, for the folks that the Lord will call at the last minute. Yeah, so that's exactly what we expect. So we already know they're not going to have the body of works that the elders and apostles and bishops have, even the helps. So as long as they believe, that's all that counts. As long as they have that faith, That's all that counts, you know. So, hey, that's how the Lord operates, man. The Lord operates on faith. Okay. So, it's good, to make sure your faith is solid, without no shadow of turning. Okay. So, the book of John, chapter 7, when you look at verse 16 and verse 17, it's what the Lord Yahushua said. Yahushua answered them, "My doctrine is not mine, but his that sent me." And man of the Lord that preached the gospel can also say this boldly, that the doctrine that we preach is not ours. It is the doctrine of the Lord Yahweh Shem Shai Shem Krokadash. Yeah, and that's what it's all about. It's about the doctrine being passed on to us, and we putting out putting it out there on display, putting it to proper use for the people to tap into it. All right. And then at verse 17 says, "If any man will do his will, he shall know of the doctrine." You see that part? If any man will do his will, he shall know of the doctrine. So when you do the will of the Lord, you'll be given access to this body of knowledge, the mysteries of the gospel. And then you're able to make a decision whether it be of Yahweh or whether I speak of myself. So you're able to determine, what is being said in the passage. You're able to understand what Yahweh Shai said and what the Lord said, and you're able to understand exactly why Yahweh Shai said certain things. Okay, so always remember, man, it's all part of prophecy. We have a role to play, and do not take the word of the Lord for granted, man. Don't tone it down because it gets some upset people. The Lord did not tone it down for nobody. All right, the gospel was not meant to be toned down, to be bent, to suit the desires of the people. The Lord does not operate that way. Okay, so Hebrews, book of Hebrews, chapter 12, verse 3. So it says this, "For consider him that endured such contradictions of sinners against himself, lest ye be wearied and faint in your mind." So you have to understand what the Lord Yahushua had to go through, and use it as an example, as a point of reference, so you don't get beside yourself, so you don't spaz out, you don't get bugged out, you don't become a heretic. All right, you don't become an obstruction to this gospel. All right, so you're supposed to know exactly what you're signing up for. All right, you already know our people are hard-headed and stiff-necked. So what do? You have to stick with the plan of the Lord Yahushua. You have to stick with his doctrine. All right, you already know that they are going to be giving you a hard time. So why would you want to give up because of some difficulties? So you just have to keep on pushing. The Lord has already said you have to endure unto the end so you can be saved. And that's a great statement that he made. You have to finish the work for you to get the reward that you need. Yeah, that's how it's supposed to be. If you don't work, you can't eat. If you don't plant, you don't water, you don't clear the weed out of the land, hey, how are you going to have a harvest? Yeah, so you have to consider those things, diligently. So just to wrap it up, you go to the book of Ephesians, chapter 4, and then you look at verse 21 to verse 23. So it says this, "If so be that you have heard him," or I heard him, that's Lord Hamashiach Yahushai, and have been taught by him, as the truth is in Yahweh Shai. Alright? That ye put off concerning the former conversation the old man, which is corrupt according to the deceitful lusts. Yeah, so you have to understand the conflict that you will be experiencing. Alright? You have to understand that there are favorable times when the gospel flows, and there are also times where it flows, but you just have to smash against the rocks. So always remember, man, there are times of smoothness in this gospel, and there are times of roughness. Alright, so when you see that pushback from the people, you already know that this gospel is true. Alright, you see the reaction, you already have the game plan in your hand, so you shouldn't be acting surprised that people willingly ignore certain passages of the gospel because they've been cajoled to do so. Alright, so verse 23 says, and be renewed in the spirit of your mind. In other words, you have to bring about that refreshing. Alright, you have to basically clean out the dust of your mind, clear out that mindset of confusion. Alright, so once you have access to proper knowledge, proper doctrine, what do? You have to eliminate the falsehoods, the lies, just to keep that simple. You have to eliminate the lies. That's how you grow in this truth. You have to get rid of the garbage to make room for the Presley doctrine. Alright? That's what it's all about. You have to make room for righteousness. You have to make room for a proper understanding of the scriptures. So that's why it is necessary to accept what is right, alright, over what is wrong. Alright, that's what the doctrine of the Lord Amashak Yahweh is all about. You already know one information that you relieve that what information that you have access to determines your ending. Alright? So you have to remember that, you cannot serve two masters. You can't preach falsehood and then you preach the truth. It's that clear, So these scriptures are not complicated. It's just simple. You have to make a choice, alright? Either you stick with the truth or you stick with the lie. You can't do both. You can't do both and then expect the Lord to issue a favorable judgment on your behalf. Just like we read in the book of Job chapter 8 and 20. Alright, Job 8 and 20. You can read it clearly. It says, behold, the Lord will not cast away a perfect man, neither will he help the evildoers. Alright, so always remember that, man. The scriptures even tells you that the Lord, is upset with the wicked every day. Alright, and it's also mentioned that when you refuse to do the good that is requested of you, it's a sin. Alright, so when people refuse to preach the proper gospel and they keep on pushing lies and falsehoods, and they're disseminating the lies of the flesh, hey, they have to be checked. They have to be exposed. Alright, so that's one thing about this gospel. It's either you're exposed unto righteousness or you're exposed unto condemnation. So you always have to determine, you have to make a choice. Do you want to be delivered or you want to be condemned? So always remember that then, clearly, salvation is very pricey. It doesn't take much to accept this gospel. You just have to put your ego to the side. Let pride, find its way to the garbage can. And humility, rise to the top. Shalom.